Hello. So California recently passed, which is going to take effect next year, a new e-bike, e-scooter, micromobility storage law that is going to affect landlords and tenants in California. Here's what you need to know whether you are a landlord or a tenant under Senate Bill 712. So first, the what. And as you know, I like to break up my presentations into the what, who, why, when, where to get right to the point. So California's new e-bike, e-scooter, micromobility storage law gives landlords the option to provide tenants with exterior, secure, long-term storage for the tenant's devices. If such storage is offered, then landlords can prohibit the in storage of these devices, the in unit storage. So, this external storage ensures safety and accessibility for all residents. And additionally, while tenants would be permitted to perform minor maintenance tasks such as like tire changes inside their rental units, other repairs, particularly those involving batteries or motors, can be restricted by the landlord since those are the most dangerous types of repairs according to the insurance statistics, as well as charging. That's where the majority of these battery fires happen. So, for landlords and tenants looking for specifics, e bike batteries should comply with one of the following laws. And if it doesn't, which I'll tell you about in a sec, if it doesn't, then a tenant would have to maintain liability insurance if they store the device in the rental unit, and that landlord can prohibit the tenant from charging the device inside the unit. So the standards that the e-bike batteries would need to comply with in the United States would be the UL 2849 standard, which is recognized by the United States Consumer Product Safety Commission. Now, e-scooters would need to align with the UL 2272 standard. And if the battery's device fails to meet these standards, then there are certain consequences, which I just referred to. I'll say them again, which the tenant would have to maintain liability insurance if the tenant wishes to store the device in the rental unit. In other words, if the tenant's device, if it's an e-bike, falls under the UL 2849 standard, or e-scooter falls under the UL 2272 standard, then the tenant can charge the device inside the unit and the tenant would not have to maintain liability insurance. But if those micromobility devices do not meet the aforementioned UL listings, then the tenant would have to maintain liability insurance and could be prohibited by the landlord from charging the devices inside the unit. So this law is not just passed for the protection of landlords, it's also protecting tenants by giving them a clear path should they wish to bring their device inside to charge it. It's balancing the interests of the convenience of the tenant with the safety of the other tenants and the interest to the landlord. So, who does this law affect? Well, let me talk about who wrote this law first. Senate Bill 712 was written by Senator Anthony Portantino. He's a Democrat from La Cañada, and this bill is now signed by Governor Newsom, and it is going to affect residential landlords and tenants in California. Why? Why was a bill like this necessary? Well, I don't want to use any horrible puns, but the incidence of e-bike fires, micromobility device fires has just been really exploding. And I'm sorry, I told you I wouldn't use a bad pun, but I violated my principle. So it has become an epidemic. People are getting severely injured, they're losing property, and of course, people are dying as well. Now, just because people aren't dying doesn't mean the consequences can't be catastrophic. Sometimes lifetime injuries to some people might be worse than death. So the problem is no longer able to be ignored, and now something has to be done, and the California legislature is taking action. So it was authored by the senator that I told you about in the previous slide. It was also open to comment from some landlord organizations like the California Apartment Association, They said that this requirement will help to ensure that the building and tenants are safe from potential fires caused by uncertified device batteries. So, according to the Office of the State Fire Marshal, it's essential for all store devices to adhere to fire codes, especially batteries concerning or containing lithium ion technology. So, oops, I forgot the picture on that one. The law is going to take effect January 1st, 2024. And where? Well, I already told you it's going to apply to residential tenancies within California. So I hope you found this helpful. I would like to hear your feedback. Obviously, I make a mistake almost every time, and I try not to make the same mistake twice. So let me know how I can get better. Let me know what topics you'd like me to cover. I hope you found this helpful as a tenant. And again, this was on Senate Bill 712, which is going to be codified next year into the Civil Code if it hasn't already. And it will take effect January 1st. So it's a good idea for the landlords to get ahead of this now, start drafting policies so you can incorporate them into your new leases and rental agreements. And you might want to issue updates that are going to let your tenants know what their new rights and obligations are starting January 1st. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this helpful.